Hey, it's Jordan with TYT Politics. I am out on a glorious day here at Osheti Sakoan Camp, and I'm here with the climate change heroes. Josh Fox, great actor, James Cromwell, Mikasi, I don't know your name, Florice White Bull, and we are winterizing camp right now. So this section right here has solar insulation coming on. They're doing it over here. Josh could explain it way better than I. What's going on here? You came in on a pretty pimpin' bus, and you brought all the resources for the camp.
Well, we usually have Thanksgiving at my place in Pennsylvania with all my friends, and this year I said no, we have to go to Standing Rock, and a lot of people wanted to come. So luckily, we did have a sponsor to bring us about 13 of us here. We've been doing some winterizing, we've been doing volunteering at the camp, obviously some reporting, and we're working with Bold, the Bold Alliance. You might know Bold, Nebraska, the group of activists that are fighting pipelines and working on the environment to do winterization around the camp. So there's solar panels going up on a tiny house here. We're doing some insulation. These are some yurts. Some of them we had to move off of the ground. We just had picked up some amazing folks along the way, musicians, journalists, actors, writers, all of us who are trying to blog and try to also do work at the same time. And I ran into James Cromwell, who I've done a lot of anti-fracking work in the state of New York and against the frack gas power plants in the lobby of the casino, which is where it's at. You know, if you want to be at the center of the universe, hang out here at Standing Rock at Ochetti Sarcoen or the lobby of the casino. You never know who you're going to run into. So I said, James, come on over and check out what's happening with Mikasi, who works for Bold, and Florice, who's from Standing Rock. Amazing folks, and we've just been working together for the last couple of days, and just trying to keep this movement warm.
And what should people know about winterization? You know, they hear the word. What does it mean? Is it just solar panels going up? Are there other tools going up?
Oh yeah, well we brought a lot of tools to winterization is insulation and making sure that you actually have a structure that can withstand the winter. But maybe you guys want to chime in a little bit on that more.
Yeah, this is one of the tiny house concept. It's actually a storage shed like many Americans have in their backyards. We're bringing them in and insulating them from the inside, putting interior walls in. We've got a wood stove inside, and we're getting solar panels hooked up so people can have a light source and be able to, charge some cell phones or whatever they may need. This has been very efficient. We've had some cold nights. We even had some snow. It was nice. As long as we keep the fire going in there, it stays warm and it's able to sleep 4 to 6 people. There's a loft inside, and it's just a really nice space, and I think that it'll hold up, in a North Dakota winter.
And the solar panels going on top of here, things like this. Is this better than a lot of people are using like wooden stoves or some type of oil to keep their tents or yurts warm? What's the difference here?
Well, we actually have a wood stove in here, and that's necessary. The temperatures here get 20 below with the 40-mile-an-hour wind, and so it's necessary to have a good source of heat. The solar panels, this whole movement is about climate change. We're trying to stop climate change. We're trying to change the way that we live, the way that people perceive their needs, and go back to a simpler way of life and stop using fossil fuels. And this camp here, I think that we're a model for the world to see that you can do that. And we've been living here for 4 months. We're back to the fireplace, using the fireplace. Actually, this is the first tiny house that's going to be hooked up with solar, and it's going to be really nice to have some light in tonight and be able to plug in a cell phone. So we're going back to our old ways, but with the modern twist, and showing people that we can transition from fossil fuels to renewable energy.
And for people who might be coming down to camp, how easy is it? How time consuming? What's the labor that goes into putting the solar panels up? Does it take days? A couple hours? Where do you get these kinds of solar panels?
Luckily, we've got some great people here that are donating solar panels. People like Josh Fox are helping with bringing in relatives that want to help construct and winterize structures. Solar Cities donating some solar panels. It only takes a few hours to install them. This little barn, is not real expensive to buy. It's just a shed, and then for about $400 you can buy everything to winterize it, and then it should be able to accommodate, hopefully a small family or some elders that we can keep out of the weather.
And I'll put the info under the video for where you could get these resources, some more information. I wanted to ask you, obviously there's children all over the camp. We're talking about the future, a necessity to save the earth, obviously our children. Can you kind of talk about, with the solar panels and insulating like that and getting off of fossil fuels, how important is it to you to make sure that our children don't suffocate to death because of fossil fuels and fracked pipelines?
Like you said, this movement's based on our children. Our children are the ones, our youth are the ones that are leading this movement. They're the ones that put down the prayers for us to stop this pipeline. And that was a part of a prophecy that with the children rising, that the mothers would rise to support them, and then that our men would rise behind them to support. And our children deserve a better future than a future that comes with this fossil fuel industry. And everything that's going on here proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that clean energy is sustainable and that it's doable, and the community that comes with it, and the people and the beautiful minds and the collectivism, the people that are able to bring that their spirit and their gifts. It's a community effort, and it's all a beautiful to be able to show our children that we have a better future that we can give to them. And it shows that it's not an idea anymore, because everyone had the ideas and it's put it into reality. This is the reality here.
And James, I wanted to ask you, obviously this whole situation, there's moral ramifications, but there's also economic ramifications. A lot of people don't understand how fruitful solar, clean energy, wind panels, these types of things could create an economic boom for the country. We keep hearing that we need these pipelines, we need fracked oil. The future will not come tomorrow without it. Can you kind of talk about, because you've been on the front lines for all sorts of pipelines?
Well, obviously they didn't listen to Jill Stein, because that was part of her platform. It was to create a mammoth work program to install solar, alternative energies. And the alternative energies make a great many more jobs than do power plants or pipelines or compressor stations. Once they've been built, the power station in my community, which is CPV, takes only 25 people to run this entire billion-dollar plant. So it's not actually bringing the jobs that the unions claim that they are fighting for, and the politicians get on, so that our politician says, no, I have to protect the jobs. But they're not really thinking about the jobs. They're thinking about their bottom line. Are they going to get elected? Do they need the union support? And the unions are not thinking that their pipe fitters could just as well do renewables instead of doing these fossil fuels. So the short-sightedness, ignorance, and a lack of connection with Mother Earth, with indigenous people, with the desires of all of us for our children and our future. And that's what's left. That's the moral equivalent.
What should people know watching if they want to get better informed on solar, clean energy, if they wanted to come to camp? Obviously not everyone could donate, but what could people do?
Those are two great questions. The first one is, there's an organization called the Solutions Project that proves conclusively that we don't need fossil fuels for anything. If you look at solutionsproject.org, you can see a breakdown of every single state of the union. Mark Jacobson and his team from Stanford have broken down how we can use wind, how we can use solar panels, how we can use geothermal, all the ways that we can divide up an energy mix without fossil fuels at all. And that's our future as Americans, and as our future for the world if we want to have a future. North Dakota is one of the greatest places on earth for wind. It's been said over and over again that just 3 states in the Union, North Dakota, Kansas, and Texas, with wind alone, could power everything that we have in the United States. That includes all of our cars, all of our buildings, everything. Just 3 states, North Dakota, Kansas, and Texas. So we're sitting on top of a huge, huge wind, or rather, underneath a huge wind resource. And at the same time, we're building a pipeline that is going to, the potentially could contaminate all of this water, and it is a total disaster. And it's not about energy. It's not about what we need. It's about the people who are in power and how abusive they are. And, it's been said over and over again, this pipeline was rerouted from Bismarck. It's environmental racism. It's oppression. And when you work with the fuels of tyranny, which is fossil fuels, you're going to get tyranny, whether that's the tyranny of George Bush or the tyranny of Saddam Hussein or the tyranny of Gaddafi or the tyranny of these oil companies that are now being supported through fracking by Barack Obama and by the government that's in place right now. We want to make sure that we dismantle that tyranny. That's number one. The other thing is we just had a press conference here about how this place is not being dismantled, right? That's why we're winterizing. The tribes and the spokespeople like Dallas Goldtooth said very clearly, we're not threatened by the letter that just came out from our Army Corps. We've seen a lot of these letters over the last 500 years. We're not interested in moving. And we're going to do what we need to do to take care of our people. But for the Army Corps to say we're shutting this place down is in line with 500 years of different parts of that tyrannical government towards the Native Americans that they say, no, we're not going. And just for my own part, I've been here a couple of different times. I think this is a beautiful creation. I think this is what happens when you see love be the answer to a crisis. I think you see self-organizing. You see community being built. You see an incredible amount of teaching happening. That this alliance that's happening now between environmentalists and people who are working for environmental justice and these Native American tribes who've opened up their land and their philosophy and their spirituality to a whole new group of people is bringing this movement to another level. I think we're going to see a lot more of that. And I think the threat of Army Corps saying, oh, we're going to shut you down is only going to make hundreds more camps like this happen. And we've been talking about how do we fight fracking with an alliance between fractivists and Native tribes in Oklahoma. How do we do the same thing in Colorado and Boulder? And how do we do the same thing in Texas? So I think we're building something new here at Standing Rock, and it's incredible. It's beautiful, and it's not going away. And this is part of the future of it. So I'm really happy to see all the response from all over the world. And if you can't come to Standing Rock, obviously, there are going to be many, many more moments in the future where this movement needs support. And I think that we're going to probably be planning something in Washington, D.C. to tell President Obama very clearly in his own backyard, no, we're not going to stand for this. We need this pipeline, the easement denied. We need him to do his part and not say, oh, we're afraid of what's going to happen with Donald Trump. No. We'll take it from here. You do your job, Mr. President, right now. You don't act out of fear of what's coming in the future. You act about what's right. You deny this easement. You get the Army Corps out of here and let these people proceed with the movement that is probably the healthiest and most democratic thing that's happening in the United States of America right now.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.